Morning, Chunky. Only me. I've got a question for the Met Police. They were called to break up a party in a £12,000 a week rented Mayfair flat that was once home to Hollywood star Douglas Fairbanks Jr., but they didn't dish out any fines as they refused to let them in. Now, I have a question for you here, if you don't mind me saying, as the police are stood outside. Why didn't you do what you do to other people and smash down the door? Isn't it funny how money, power and influence will change the rules in a heartbeat? Piers Morgan, a millionaire, tells us we have to stay at home and protect the NHS at the same time he flies to Antigua. If you seemingly have a £12,000 a week mansion in London, you can have your party and the police go, no, we're not going to break down that door because it probably costs £100,000 and we don't want to be sued. Yet my front door, which costs £200, they'd more than happily break through should there be a party here. Should I have any friends? Or should any of them still be alive after the old kung flu? Or depression from being forced to not see me for a year? It's interesting, isn't it, how choices that these people make depend on the circumstance they're in. I saw a video circulating online yesterday where some disgusting 8 or 9 police officers came to these 2 black lads who were walking down the street. I think it was from a few months back. But these guys were minding their own business and they're suddenly harangued by all these police officers who were absolutely arrogant, rude and despicable. They were bullying, intimidating and unquestionably harassing these young men who I hope sued the police over it. Yet isn't it interesting that if they'd have lived behind the doors of a mansion in London, £12,000 a week, they probably would have been allowed to carry on. Doesn't this tell us a lot about the duplicity? I've already made my premonition about the quarantine hotels, that those who are the richest will find a way of not having to stay in a 3-star Ibis. They won't be staying, trust me, in a room that is the size of their closet, their changing room. Now, we know how quickly they come out of the closet in these posh houses. Maybe that's just people at the BBC after they're caught out. But that wasn't why you called. I want to know why the police did not pound down that door. Why they didn't get a big sledgehammer and go in. What was the reason? Please, Met Police, could you explain to us? Because we've seen countless examples of where you're more than happy to break in places. You're more than happy to arrest people. You're more than happy in Scotland to go into that house. Or the 2 ladies in Derby, hand them a fine. Or indeed the countless other examples that we've seen in gyms and hairdressers, and even the old couple going to see their mother in a care home who'd got dementia at 97. Also harangued and pulled over by the police in a car. We had threats, didn't we, yesterday for Valentine's? Don't have a shag. Don't you think of the 1-2 book of my shoe or we'll pull you over and ask you where you're going. Yet, when you live in a £12,000 a week mansion in London, nothing happens. They didn't dish out any fines because they refused to let them in. Well, there you go then. This is what we know from now on. Here's the standard. This is what we call in law the precedent. Not the president, as in the USA, the precedent. The precedent is set. If you don't open your door, they can't come in because they won't have a warrant, because they need the court to sign that off. This is marvellous. Thank you. Thank you, Met Police, for giving us an insight into how we avoid fines too. We simply don't open the door. Let's see whether that rule applies to our house that doesn't have a £12,000 a week rent ticket on it. In fact, our mortgages aren't £12,000 a year. This is curious, isn't it? Well done, Met Police. More great policing from our capital. Sadiq Khan, he's the man for the future. Vote him back in.